Hi everybody, this is a video overview of this light is the prototype, or one of the prototypes, for the Aeon Mark III. And this is Enrique Muyshondt's new light. It runs a friction fit pocket clip, which I do not like, and it has a clicky. It has 3 modes. This is a good low, a medium, and then a high. And the clicky is just great. I don't like the boot so much, but I know that Enrique is working on a replacement boot. But the output on this light is just amazing. The beam quality is good. It's a high Cree emitter. The high is a really good 200 lumens. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful light. The machining on the light is very nice. I like these little flutes up here, the knurling for some extra grip. The light, of course, can tail stand because it's Enrique and he does not forget those kinds of details. But it's a great, great light. It uses a dish reflector, and it's wonderful. He's going to be releasing a run of these soon. They're going to be available on his site for $395, which is a lot of money for a light, but man, this thing does so much stuff right. Here's a comparison between the Mark I, or the Mark II, and the Mark III. And the Mark I is the same size as the Mark II. The Mark II just has an Nichia 219 emitter, and then some actual 3 levels instead of 2. So let's compare. Let's see if I can get them. So this is the 200 lumen, or this is the 100 lumen, 114 lumens on the Mark II, and this is the 200 lumens on the Mark III. You can see different beam patterns here, but this one does appear, and maybe you can't see it, but it does appear to be a little bit brighter than this one. And it's just an illustration of the fact that even doubling the lumens is probably not enough for your eye to like instantly see the difference. When you do a side-by-side comparison, you can see it more easily. Given that I'd probably just take the pocket clip off this one, I'm not exactly sure which I like better. Both have really remarkable beam patterns. I like the UI on this one better, but I like the machining and the look on this one a little bit better. And obviously I like the performance on this one better because the high is higher. These are just amazing lights. I mean, they're going to be amazing. When people get them in their hand, you're going to realize just how amazing they are. But it wouldn't be fair if I didn't compare it to this light. This light is a production light. This is an Olight S1 baton, which is a very good production light, one of the best in the world right now. And it runs a clicky. It runs a side clicky. And this runs a CR2 battery. This runs a CR123A battery. And as you can see, they are almost exactly the same size. In fact, the Mark III is a little taller. This is a little wider. A couple cool things about this light. It is 500 lumens, and it hits 500 lumens on a non-rechargeable. So a CR123A, you get 500 lumens. You also get a really low low. I mean, look at that. That's an amazing low. So let's compare the lows here. I'd much rather have this low. It's more likely to keep my night vision than this one. And then let's compare the highs. Let me see if I can get this to work. So there is the low. There's the high. And you can see the beam here. You can see the beam color. The beam here is much nicer. This is a cherry surface. And you can see this is kind of greenish. And this is bringing out the real colors of the cherry. So the color here is much better on the Mark III. The brightness, I mean, you can, it swallows up the beam on the Mark III. This is a much brighter light. 500 lumens is real 500 lumens. And it's just a brighter light all around. So while this has nothing like the fit and finish of this, and this has nothing like the runtime of this, if you're looking at pure specs, you know, weight, lumens, that kind of stuff, this is hard. This is a hard comparison. And then when you factor in the fact that this is a $60 light, Now, if you're a flashlight connoisseur, if you're a flashaholic, there's no comparison. This you set aside. This is a work of craftsmanship. This is something that is made by a guy. This is made by a dude. This is not made by a dude. This is made by a machine, or made by a factory, or made by a bunch of dudes. And it's really nice. But if we were just about, sort of utilitarian aspects of gear, we wouldn't really care. I mean, it would be, everyone would have a Spartaco Delica and we'd be done with it. There wouldn't be a custom flashlight world. There wouldn't be a custom knife world. But this is made by a dude. And it's not all that uncompetitive here. I mean, like, I'm saying that the high is higher here, but the beam quality is much better. The beam tint is much better. The run times are much better. And so we're talking about something that is made by a dude that is competitive with a cutting-edge manufacturing facility in China, using state-of-the-art machines, state-of-the-art computers, designers, all those kinds of people. Made by a dude, and it's competitive. So, like, how much are you willing to pay? If you're not willing to pay $400 for a flashlight, then this is out of the discussion, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good it is. It doesn't matter what it does. But if you're in the discussion, if you're saying to yourself, you know what, I'll probably keep it for 10 years, and it'll be something I use and carry every day, then you might be able to justify it if you're crazy. I mean, you can't really justify it if you're not crazy. If you're not a fan of flashlights or gear, you can't justify it. But if you can, I think that this is something that I would always buy over this. It's not to say that this is better than this, because, as I said, like, they're competitive with each other. The output is good, that kind of stuff. But I think that I would rather have something made by a guy than something made by a factory. And I'm not saying that this is a rational choice. I'm saying that this is a choice that I would make. And I think that the reason I would make that is because I want to support people that are capable of doing this kind of innovation. I mean, the things that Enrique does with flashlights are things that are very, very hard to do. And the fact that he's one dude and he's doing it in a way that's competitive with, state-of-the-art manufacturers around the world is really, really impressive. It's guys like that sort of push the envelope, that make things, make really big leaps in inventions and technology possible. In computer industry, those guys get bought up by big computer companies like Google and Microsoft. In the flashlight industry, there's not enough money for that to happen, and so guys like Enrique can sort of stay independent. But I would always support the guy, and like I said, I can't say that it's a rational thing, but if you have a little bit of disposable income and you're thinking about where you spend your money, I think you can really easily come up with a justification for saying I would spend it on the guy. And the same reason why I would rather buy, a handmade knife. I can find a handmade knife that I like, that does everything I need it to. I wouldn't hesitate. I wouldn't hesitate to buy it. And that's a little different because, you can find a production knife for $300. You can get a Garrett Bull Shamori for $550. So it's not like the price difference here. This is $320 more than this guy, $330 more, and on percentage-wise, it's even bigger than the difference between the Shamori and like a production knife. But supporting the dude is important. Supporting a guy makes a difference because he puts the line here, and the next time he makes a line, he puts it here, and then the manufacturers follow suit. So when you get a chance, take a look at the Muyshondt Aeon Mark III. This is a great little light. Let's see if I can get this to show. Come on. Boom. The Mark III Pro. So, written review of the Mark III